Okay, we will start our class. Good evening once again, children. And in the last class, we have discussed about broadband networks and internet architecture that enables the cloud into the existence. Okay, so today we will discuss one more interesting technology, that is data center technology. Most of the times, people think that data center is nothing but a data storage point. Yes, of course, you're correct. It is a data storage point, but it is beyond that. I want you people to recognize it as not just as a database storage entity. It's beyond. It's beyond it's beyond the database. That's it. Okay. So usually, to have this data center technology enabled, okay, we need certain other components also. Okay, so we will see. We will. I mean, we will not be discussing what exactly the data center is, how its architecture is, and how it functions, and all other things. We will not be looking into it, but we'll be looking into the technologies of data center that is substantiating and adding value for the existence of data. That is it. We will not be looking deeper about how the data center works and all other things. Not only about the data center technology, neither we will be looking in some other technologies like web technologies. We'll be looking, virtualization will be looking, but we'll not be more deeply. We'll be discussing how they'll be working. We'll not be discussing on that aspect, but we'll be discussing the technology or else the technological features of that particular entity. What is that supporting to the cloud? That is what our point of interest is. Okay, so our point of interest in this regard with respect to a data center is, okay, so there are few particular components in data center technology that comprises or that enables the cloud into the existence. Okay, you can see a huge list on the slide, like starting from virtualization, standardization and modularity, automation, that is automated tasks. Okay, what I mean to say, and remote accessibility, operations management, availability, security, and its privacy related management, other facilities, hardware, but that to hardware in terms of storage, in terms of network, in terms of computations, and all other considerations we'll be looking. So first we'll go with the virtualization. When it comes to the matter of data centers, okay, you can think about in the cloud, data centers in the cloud, okay, you can think about both physical and virtual resources. Remember that. Usually the cloud will be consisting of, virtual resources. But if you are talking about cloud that is being existed, or else that is supposed to be existing, okay, that can be on physical or virtual IT resources. You get this aspect, okay, something like, this is the resources might be present on the off premise or on premise. That's what it means. Okay, so at times the data center might be present on the other cloud environment, or else it can be present at the organizational network as well. But usually, if you have the components on a virtualized environment, it will be easy for you to allocate, operate, and manage them. That is it. Okay. So you can have any type of resources. You can have any type of resources as far as the data center is concerned. But usually, what we recommend is to go with the virtualized objects only. Why? The reason, it will be very much easier to handle the allocation of the resources, removal of the resources, and to maintain those particular resources. Okay, so that's about the virtualization component in the data center technology. Okay, so here in the slide you can see the image. Okay, so here both the physical server and physical storage is being catered to certain hypervisors. Okay, and again all these hypervisors are connected to VIM, that is virtual infrastructural manager. Okay, and from this VIM, other components, other clients can be connected. Okay, this is, I mean, at this point of time, you see, you think that this is a very primitive one, or else this is a very regular kind of architecture that is being. But yes, that is quite normal also. Coming on to the next technology in the standardization modularity, what you come across is in the data center technology is standardization modularity. What it means is standardization modularity. Why do you think you need to modularize your resources, and you need to have certain amount of standardizations? Okay, so this is where the cost reduction will be exactly managed. This is where is the cost reduction will be exactly managed. Why? Because usually when there are more number of resources that have been especially allocated for the data purposes, okay, so definitely you'll be coming across redundancy in the data. Most number of times you end up with having redundant data. You can choose, you can take your mobiles, you can take your laptops, okay, for that matter you can take any of your personal entities, okay. At least you'll be having, either you'll be having that sort of data multiple copies, or entirely you will lose the data, okay. So in order to overcome all these things, okay, you have to properly organize the data. That is where you have to modularize the data. And also properly organize the data in terms of certain standards. Definitely it has to be saved in certain amount of standards. Now when you want to retrieve the data, if the data is not properly organized and stored in an hierarchical fashion, or else in a modularized fashion, then automatically it takes more time. Okay, it takes more time to retrieve. Automatically, if time is consumed, it means that it very blindly, it means that there are other costs being incurred. That means time is money, isn't it? If you are needing more and more time, then automatically it means that you are losing certain amount of money in that. And hence you can call that operational cost or else maintenance cost will be controlled if you have standardized and modularized data. Okay, so in data center you have to adopt whatever the data that is present. You have to see that the standardization of the data is happening, and also it should be it should be organized, or else it should be arranged in a modularized fashion. Okay, usually what will happen is this will show impact on operational costs. Operational costs, it is something like, in other words, we can be calling it as maintenance cost. In other words, we call it as maintenance cost. In order to run that, you have to add up, or your maintenance cost will be keep on increasing. Okay, so to avoid that, okay, we go for this particular technology. On the other hand, automation. If you see, when it comes to the databases or else data handling tasks, you will have complex operations, and you will have to do these operations very often. Probably like replicating of your data, or backing up your data. Very often this has to be done, and you have to definitely automate such tasks. If remember, automation can be done only on the tasks which are to be very much repeatedly done, and with where more accuracy is being needed. Okay, so whatever the examples I have chosen, like I am what to say, backing the data, or else I'm creating one more replica, or else I'm creating another instance of the same database. Okay, definitely I need to have that in timely fashion, and also higher accuracy is being expected in it. Okay, so for these kind of tasks, okay, these are very much regular tasks of DBA, that is database administrators. So their major duty is they need to keep on tracking when they have to take the data backups, and when the replica copies have to be created, and when the replicas have to be synchronized. All these three tasks are the major chunk of the DBA tasks. Okay, so they usually go for automating the task. So here in the data center technology, yes, automation is also there. That means as you come across huge databases, okay, so you will have to definitely manage upon all these databases using the automation tasks. And of course, the next one, remote operation management. You very well knew that all the data centers might be present at the what is a physical location or a virtual location, but at the same time, they cannot be accessible from a organizational network probably. most of the time it will be present in the cloud-based environment, and that too in a remote, from a remote location itself, you are supposed to access to that data. And even I can assure that you exactly don't know where your data is being stored, especially in the cloud. You can just, as it's a logical entity, you can identify which is the database and what is the, database tables it is being stored. That is it, and you exactly don't know where you are storing. Now, can anyone of you tell that where does your Google Photos are being saved? In India, in Asia, or else in Europe, or else in America? No, you don't know, and it is not needed as well. So that's the thing, okay? But whenever you need it, whether you are in India or Asia or Europe or America, if you are provided with the access. That is what high availability, which we'll be talking about the next thing, okay? So not only the client operations, but remote operations do well with the administrative tasks also. As I told, DBA people will be very closely working on the synchronization activities, or replication activities, your backup activities, or other maintenance activities, kind of thing, okay? Or what to say, the normalization activities of the data will also be taking place, okay? Whatever may be the kind of activity, but definitely the DBA will also be accessing all the will be having the access to the databases through remote operations only. So definitely the administrative kind of privileges are also to be provided from the remote location, remote location. And very much, when there are any such kind of maintenance, you don't expect all the time the DBA to visit the local database and then get it repaired. From the remote locations only, they'll be, connecting and getting the things done. Usually that's how the, problems all are now being solved. Especially when you have, when report some certain type of problem on your mobiles, okay? So when you lodge a complaint on the mobile functionality, automatically, you'll be receiving a call from the service team, and they'll be installing one small file on your mobile, from which they can access your mobile and they can, get the maintenance done of your mobile, okay? So in the similar sense, when there are technical hitches on the database end, okay, especially to recover it on a quicker sense. So the DBAs or else any other administrators, okay, they directly access through the remote accessibility only. So for all these, definitely remote operations are to be enabled, and not only remote operations, maintenance and management of the resources also to be carried in the form of remote accessibility only, and hence that particular component has to be provided with the data center technologies. As I told, high availability at any point of time and every point of time, okay, you are supposed to have the access to your data. The word your data claims that complete and entire ownership on that particular data, and you have every right to see that data whenever you would wish to see that. But usually there will not be any problems, especially for the data centers, to provide the accessibility. But usually, the problems will be faced in terms of, like system failures or, network failures, these kind of things can be happening. That means if the data center has more number of requests coming in, and it could not handle one additional request, it had taken more time, likewise, okay? If that is the case, then automatically you need to balance your servers, or else you need to revise your cloud architectures in such a way that the high availability will be still possible in the data centers, okay? Not even a single fraction amount of time is leveraged here to cause a failure, okay? It has to be. Why? Because high availability is the basic characteristic feature of the cloud, and definitely it is also considered as one of the goal, and also it is benefit of the cloud, and hence definitely, okay, you cannot compromise, or else you cannot leverage on having a failure on the availability aspect, okay? So definitely you have to see that there are backups being maintained, and accordingly the load has to be distributed. I will tell you one classic example over here. See, whenever you are trying to have access to your Gmail, okay, so all your data, of course, Google has certain data centers somewhere in Alaska or something like that. Okay, so you don't expect entire world's data is being stored over there. Of course, it is, but the daily data that is being used by the entire world will not be stored over there. From in Alaska, the major data centers will be there, but according to the regions, okay, those particular databases are replicated. So, for example, the users here in the Asia Pacific region will be having their instances of data been running as a server here in the Asia Pacific region. Similarly for the African region, similarly for the American region. Okay, so whenever you try to access your data, automatically the data will be retrieved from the in the local server. I mean to say in the Asia Pacific server, or if you're in America, then you'll be getting the data from American server, isn't it, right? Now, if you move from one location to another location, that is, if you're moving from America to Asia Pacific location, on the first instance, you will be finding a little delay in getting the access. Why? Because the data is not readily present in the local database server. So these kind of things will be usually the problems with the high availability. Okay, so all such kind of high availability problems has to be sustained only through the load balancing. Only through the load balancing. Of course, we'll be discussing what is load balancing architecture in next part of our topic. Okay, so that's about the high availability component in the data center technology. And the next component, you very much aware that whatever the data that is present and whatever the entity we will be talking about in terms of the cloud, or in terms of the resource, or in terms of network, okay, it should be, of course, secure. It should be mandatorily secured, isn't it, right? Why? Because most of the client business will be client data will be stored over there, isn't it, right? Now, you can go and see, you'll be really worried if you had purchased, say, one online thing, automatically you start getting phones from equivalent e-commerce sites also. Or else you'll be getting, ads like, what to say, whatever the commodity you have purchased in a recent past, okay, you will be getting the request in such thing only. And also, if you pay taxes more, automatically you will be receiving calls from real estate people and all other entertainment people that, we have this sort of thing for you. You can see, you can go for purchase. People assess based upon your data. A lot of analytics will be run on the data, and hence, whether it can be an email ID, or else it can be date of birth. Okay, these will be finding very simple for us. Okay, very simple for us, but for the hackers, or else for the data analyzers, okay, so that is one of the crucial information for them. Okay, usually the passwords will be set according to the date of birth, or else according to their important this thing. Okay, let's not worry what they will be analyzing out of it. Okay, but do understand that data will be analyzed to any extent depending upon the need and depending upon the usage. Okay, so you want to save the silliest data of the client, maybe, as he is your customer, he is providing the data for you to know him as a customer. Okay, so it becomes your minimal responsibility to maintain and keep track of his data in a proper sense. So definitely, whatever the data center, or else wherever the data center you are creating, it becomes your responsibility to have it properly secured, and it should be manageable also. It should be manageable also. Usually, when more amount of, or else tons of data is there, some amount of data we'll be trying to outsource based upon certain data centers only. Okay, like many of us will be using Google as the data storage point, or else why not? We'll be using Dropbox as some sort of storage point. We'll be using what is it? OneNote also one sort of storage point. Okay, so all these are all third-party things. Only. All the Dropbox is entirely third-party, isn't it? Right? So similarly, what to say? The other one, OneNote is also entirely a third-party one, though it belongs to Microsoft. It's still called as a third-party one. Okay, so there are many third-party entities that talks, or else that maintains, or else that plays with the data. So definitely you need to take care of such security measures and also privacy measures, especially. Okay, you got to take upon those particular things. That's the reason when you will be seeing junk mails. Okay, in the bottom of the mail you could see that you can unsubscribe from all this list. Okay, so that's how the privacy is being handled by the data center technologies. Okay, that's about the security and privacy measures. When it comes to the facilities, okay, so as I told, the facility, though it is related to a little bit of high availability, what we are interested is how this particular data will be facilitized. In the sense, these data, or where it has to be hosted, or else what are the physical entities that has been present, and how the cooling system has to be. Students, whenever I was talking about the data center, if you remember, I talk most of the time in about the cool region only, about in Greenland, or else in Alaska, or else in southern part, or completely enter northern hemisphere kind of regions only. You could find all the data centers. Very simple. Data centers will be generating more number of it, and here if you host such kind of data center here in Tirupati or in Chennai or even in Bangalore, the cooling system, you have to be providing the cooling system in a very, very higher sense. So, to cut down the prices in terms of power, in terms of money, in terms of facilitation area. Okay, so these kind of servers are being created there in cooler environment zones, usually northern hemisphere. Okay, we don't travel too far to the south for having these things getting. Okay, so these kind of facilities, okay, definitely the physical facilities that are being talked, or that are being related with respect to a data center, has to be present mandatorily, and this has to be taken care as of one of the component in the data center technologies. And other point is, in the facilities we have discussed, the supporting facilities, I can say, but when it comes to the computing hardware, of course, these are also physical facility only, but in terms of the system related physical entities, we'll be categorizing here. Definitely, the power and the capacity has to be maintained accordingly. As I told, the data center is a huge thing, but definitely let it be, like however huge it be, over a period of time, even that gets dried out. That means if you start pouring in data continuously, automatically even data centers will be running out of the storage spaces. So automatically they need to look for a backup, or else they need to look for enhancement of their storage capacity, all those kind of things. Okay, so these things, especially, okay, especially the data centers are not in terms of the smaller systems, but data centers are usually in the form of a huge racks, or else in a server kind of environment where multiple processors will be running on that particular servers to cater the needs of the data handling, I can say. Data handling. Why? Because uh, multiple clients will be allotted, or else multiple clients data is being stored here, and at any point of time you can expect any sort of request coming from the clients, and to get the things. Okay, so just to understand, if we have four pen drives connected to our laptop, and when you are trying to move the data, automatically our system lags down in its speed. But just think, if you have a huge amount of data and the n number of requests are very continuously hitting, and just estimate how much processing speed you might be needing. And also apart from that, you have regularly automated tasks like replication, synchronizations, creating instances, backups, and all those things. Okay, so for that, whatever hardware you will be requiring, definitely you have to create such kind of hardware entities and resources. Coming on to the storage part, storage is very, why here we have exclusively hardware has been divided into computing part, storage part, and network part, because these three, though collectively we'll be calling it as hardware when we consider one particular system, but here in the data center technology, each of these component has a crucial role in it. Has a crucial role in it. As I told, the storage point has to be enormously empty, or else enormously made available for the customers. Okay, as I told, however big is the data center, when you start pouring the data at some point of time, or else at some point of freezing area, automatically it starts drying it out. So you'll be running out of space. So automatically you have to increase the capacity. Okay, so you need to look upon. And also, as I told for the Gmail example, you need to look upon the storage space in specific locations, like to cater the needs of that particular local peoples. Like, as I told, the Google server here in the America for Americans, or else the persons who stay in America, or else the server that is hosted usually in the Singapore area, for Asia Pacific people, and for Middle East you could be finding in Dubai, and for Europe you'll be finding in Sweden or Norway, or even Greenland probably. Okay, usually, for these locations also you are supposed to take care of the storage devices. Of course, we are not talking only about the virtual data center or the basic data center, but you have to consider how, and in what sense you are trying to make up the backups, or else how you are trying to cater in terms of the synchronization of the data, or else in terms of creating multiple replicas of that particular copies as well. So definitely, whatever may be the database, okay, when it comes to the bottom point, okay, so all those things has to be stored in magnetic tapes, that is nothing but the hard disks. Okay, so usually these hard disks are again created in terms of the racks, okay, where you can find a huge arrays of such hard disks will be present in those particular racks. Okay, and on the other hand, the connectivity between the client and this particular data servers, or client local databases, or to the data centers. So we don't mind who and where, or else how that particular data will be consumed, but all the thing we need to do is, we need to consider about the hardware needed for establishing proper databases as well. Okay, so that's about the network hardware.
The data center, you can find 5 subsystems, 5 network subsystems usually. Okay, so those are carrier and external network interconnection. That means, so these are responsible for external entity, that is. The second one is web tier load balancing and acceleration. See, this kind of connectivity, will be usually for load balancing and acceleration of the data services that is being given. Okay, and on the other hand, you could see the LAN connectivities and storage area network, that is nothing but SAN connectivities. Okay, and apart from that, there are the gateways. See, these entirely form a different layers of architecture in the data center technology. Okay, so in each and every layer, you have a specific operation of connectivity is being identified and defined accordingly. Okay, so as I told, we'll not be discussing how these works, or else what is the motive of these existence and other things. Okay, we will be just knowing what that network is, and what is the purpose of that particular network. That is it. Okay, that's about the network hardware. And coming on to the final thing, that is the other considerations, you have to take care that many at times technological obsolescence will be, you'll become the prey of technological obsolescence. Many at times, okay, you invest so much money and you create such a large data center, and probably you might be needing 2 to 3 years of span to create such a data center. Meanwhile, your whatever the components you have used in your data center might be running obsolete. Definitely, they might be running obsolete, and you cannot think that, okay.
Sorry, there was a network break. Sorry, there was a network break in between. Okay, fine. I was talking about the technological obsolescence. Okay, so usually this is not a short time affair. Like you create this data center for 6 months or 1 year, and then you totally ramp up. Okay, that's not the case. When you set up the data center, it has to last long. It has to They should exist for a longer time and longer duration in the sense. So as you are talking about a period, okay, definitely you come across the technological obsolescence. So these things has to be, you need to definitely take care of. You need to definitely take care of. And usually here in the market, you can see that a minimum span of 5 to 7 years of technological obsolescence can be controlled, or else it can be controllable in the sense they can bear that much obsolescence, but not beyond that. But not beyond that. That's the reason very often you find technologies being upgraded uh, in their versions and in their features. Their features. The moment they stop updating, then automatically they are lost in the market. Okay, and the other part is security becomes again a what to say. A disturbing issue for that matter. Why? Because when you are running into the obsolescence, okay, so you might be in such a situation that because of the obsolete products, the security might be going on it off. So though there are antivirus software, or though there are other security measures being taken, but if you are if you are still using in the obsolete products, then automatically there is a risk for you to face this particular security issue. Not only security issue, there are privacy issues as well. Especially in the cloud or else in the databases, usually you have to take care of the DBAs or else the resource administrators. You need to ensure that they are uh, that. Please go on mute. Okay, we are almost done. Okay. I was talking about the security and privacy concern, isn't it? Okay. So if you are using too old or else too obsolete components for your data center, then you can definitely think that your security is on breach. That is it. Okay. So at any point of time, if any of these components, what we have just now discussed, are not properly maintained, then automatically the data center technology might not be full-fledgedly giving its what to say its support to the cloud's existence. Definitely, all of these components has to be mandatorily placed. Okay, so I stop here today.